All right, guys. I was kind of telling you I needed some parts from this BMW to kind of get the Jeep body tied to it. So I told you I wasn't sure if I was going to get some of the parts for this BMW. My boy came through yesterday, man. He loaded me up. He gave me pretty much everything that he took out of his car, and I jammed it all in my Audi. We were uptown. I had my Audi there, so he literally gave me everything: stereo, the amplifier, all the stuff to make the wiring harness in the car work, the dash, all the interior pieces. Like, I got everything out of that car. The main piece that I needed right there, those are the side skirts. So I'm gonna unload this, kind of start figuring out what I'm gonna use, what I'm not gonna use. He literally gave me every piece that he had to this car, including all the clips to put the side skirts on, the covers for right here to tie the carpet back to the body. Like, he gave me everything that he had left. I think I got a lot of the duct work and this ducting, the center console, the boot for the shifter, all that stuff, so I can start putting this car back together, deciding what I'm going to use dash wise. The only thing I didn't get was the steering wheel. He sold that right out of the gate, which is understandable, man. Those things go for like $500-600. So I still got to figure out a steering wheel. He told me to keep the wheels and tires too. So I owe him big time. This is really going to help me put this thing together. So I'm going to work on unloading everything out of there, get it in the shop, kind of inventory what I'm going to use, find somewhere to store it for now. As I'm putting this thing together, I am going to try to get the side skirts on today so I can start lining this body up, so I can build the filler panel, so I can see what I'm going to need in the dash. Like I said, I really want heat and AC in here. I got the traction control button, the spot to put the key fob in. Like, he gave me the entire dash and all the pieces to hook it together, and I think most of the bolts are there too, and all the clips to clip these back on. So it's a good thing, man. I was gonna have to build a lot of custom stuff here, which I still may build a custom dash for this thing, because I don't know if the BMW dash, how well it's gonna look against the Jeep body. I may just bead roll a whole aluminum one. We'll see though. I still may have to do it because I might be missing some pieces still to put the interior back together. But we'll see. I'm going to pull it out and start kind of going through it, figuring out what I need. But the main thing I'm going to try to do today is get those skirts on so I can start getting this Jeep body attached to here and figuring out where I'm going to cut B pillars and C pillars and the trunk off, so this Jeep body will fit on here a little better than it does currently. So that's kind of what I'm working towards. I'm going to start unloading stuff here, see where I get. All right, you guys, it's Thursday. Guess what? My son's sick again. It's been like 5 weeks. My kid's on and off, just passing it back and forth. Got Kyla on some antibiotics, so hopefully she'll stop getting sick, but driver's sick right now. So I stayed home with him. I actually went to work for like an hour this morning, came home to be with him, so my wife could go to work so she didn't lose her job. So I did a little bit of work today. Yeah. Let me walk out the shop and I'll explain to you. We got some snow. A lot of snow, actually. My plow truck's been running a lot. We got a big old drift right here. All the tumbleweeds blew in here because I had a bunch of metal piled right here, like 2 truckloads of metal. So I moved it around the back of the shop today to try to alleviate this. Anyways, I had a rough day. So, I have a handrail project I gotta do. It's middle of winter, it snowed a bunch, so I gotta contact this guy. I'm gonna get some of it done. You'll see this. That got dropped off yesterday in about 4 inches of snow, and I had to drag this into the shop. My day was rough, I'm not gonna lie. I got 1 hour of work, my real job. Came home, deal with driver, and I sat in the house just taking care of him for a while. He was rough. It's cold, it's snowy. I finally got moving about 1 o'clock because I got him out of the bath, temperature down, situated, food, all that. Came out to the shop and decided to put my tires on my Tundra, my winter tires, because my Audi won't go anywhere in the snow because the tires are completely bald. So I ordered tires yesterday. Big chunk of change I didn't want to spend, but I knew I had to. I knew it was coming. Got my winter tires put on my Tundra and my winter wheels. My air compressor stopped working. The air compressor's working. I think my line right here is frozen, or my impact gun took a crap on me. He turned it on, it just goes, doesn't do anything. So I had to put all these on by hand, which was fun. Didn't like it. Went to fire up my plow truck after I moved all that metal outside of there to try to plow that drift out. Battery's dead. Me and Kyla drove it last night. I think it needs 2 batteries. I think my plow truck needs 2 batteries when I run the KCs, the truck lights, the plow lights, and running the plow. I think it smoked the battery last night. The other thing I did, I left the plow in the down position, which I think constantly makes it kind of draw energy. My bad. So I learned a lesson. Hopefully I didn't lose the battery. If I did, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the battery out of this and out of this, and I'm gonna put 2 batteries in my plow truck to make it through the winter. Come summer, I'll put a new battery in the racer and a new battery in the truck maybe, or I'll pull one of the batteries out of the plow truck and put it back in this. Or maybe I'll take the battery out of this. I got plenty of batteries to deal with to get that situation that problem solved. It's just rough. Every time I turned around, something was broke. Both my battery chargers took a crap. I threw both of them away. I cut all the cords off of them. I like to keep that kind of stuff around. If I have a power tool or something that fails, I'll cut these plugs off, because you never know when you need them. I don't know how many times I've used these for like jumpers to, like if you get a cord that kind of frays, you can just use these instead. Same with all the alligator clamps. I kept them off both battery chargers. So I can do something with them someday. If I need a little jumper or whatever, I can use those. Yeah, so rough day. Just all the way around. Everything I did was just a fail. I don't know. Anyways, it's like super cold out. Like I think it's maybe 2 degrees. You guys know I don't have ceiling up or insulation or anything up there. My wood stove's been going nonstop. I've been literally trying to get rid of all the cardboard boxes in my little garage. I've been feeding cardboard boxes in there like all day, plus some wood, just to try to keep it somewhat warm in here, and not really all day, like since 1 o'clock. And it's about out again. But we're gonna try to get a little bit of work done. Me and my wife just got dinner kind of going. It's cooking. She's helping Kyla with homework. I did want to show you this, you guys. So I am working on getting these side skirts in. Ow, that was my ankle. The side skirts on this BMW. I have not the original ones, but these are the side skirts off the other car. So one car was gray, one was black. He took all the stuff out of this. This is an M series BMW. It has all the fancy package stuff on it. The other car he had was, I don't know what they call it. It's a lower grade series. You can see these side skirts are pretty flat. The M series actually, these kind of dish out a lot more. From what I've researched, I don't know a whole lot about BMWs yet. Going to one of these days though, because I'm going to be having this car for a while. But he did give me these, so awesome. We're going to put them on because the Jeep bodies, these side skirts come to right there. The Jeep bodies comes to right there also. You can see where I've been putting this Jeep body on and off. It's just scratching the heck out of the paint. You'll never see any of this. I'm not really worried about it. Same with over here. It's just beating it up, holding that body up here, trying to hold it up here by myself. But what I did have to do, so BMWs have these little clips. These guys right here. They go into these little holes right here. Apparently between this car and this car, the clips are different. So you can see this has a really small like tit on it right here. These yellow ones actually clip into here. All these little green things were gone. They're like another bushing that goes in the car. All these were gone. I'm guessing he used them for the car that he had. So these clips without these little green things wouldn't fit in here because they're too small. I thought I had, there was one in this bag. So he gave me this bag of, these are all the bolts and stuff that came out of the car that he had. None of the stuff was in here to put these in. I wasn't expecting them to be, you know, what he gave me, I'm appreciative that he gave me. But I did order all these. So I think there's 13 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 on each side. So there's 24. These come in a pack of 10. So I ordered 3 sets to make sure I had enough to put all these little green bushings in. And I'll show you what they look like. I got another little bag of them here. So I had ordered 3 sets. So, little green bushing. This is what they look like. I wish I had the size off the top of my head, but I measured the hole and checked these because there's different, from what I can tell, there's different sizes of these and different sizes of these clips. Some of the cars, actually, this nipple's a lot bigger. This is a brand new clip that fits into these green bushings. So that'll go in there. These clips, they hook onto these right there. Whoop, sorry, didn't mean to flip you off. They hook onto these little tabs on this rocker. So I got all new clips and all new bushings for both sides. So currently trying to work on trying to get these back in here. I got all the little green bushings in on both sides of the car. I'm gonna put all the plastic clips on here, excuse me, and try to get these hooked in. All right, you guys. I kind of hit you guys up last time about putting these side skirts on. I did get them on. What I will tell you is the little plastic clips that I bought. So I have the green bushings that go inside of the body. Then there's plastic clips that hook into the green bushings. The plastic clips sucked. They broke every time. So what I ended up doing is I had a bunch of the original ones on this, the yellow ones. They're just a lot like thicker, harder plastic. Every time you try to push the white ones in, they just break. So we switched over to the yellow ones and did about every other spot where this hooks on, because there's 12 on each side. I believe there's 12 or 13. 12. I think there's 12, yeah. So we got both of them on both sides. So now we're working on putting the dash back in this car. We got most of the stuff in here. I'm missing some of the parts, you guys, but what? Oh, you had this look like you were confused. Yeah, so we're working on putting some of this back together. Obviously, you can see I'm missing this, so I got to replace this piece, so I'm not going to put this together the rest of the way. Obviously, I need to buy a steering wheel. Steering wheels for a BMW are like 500 bucks, so we're going aftermarket. I think what I'm going to do is buy, this black Jeep has a detachable steering wheel. I think I'm going to buy another hub just like that, and I'm going to share the steering wheel between these two for now. And I'll weld the hub right to here. Yeah, we're going to weld on a BMW. Oh wait, we already did. Hey, we're going to do it again, more than likely. Unless I can find a hub adapter for a disconnect steering wheel really cheap on eBay or Amazon maybe. I think that's the route I'm going to go for now. I'm going to have to look for these parts. I may either make this or buy it. All the vents are missing, so I'm going to have to find those on somewhere. Hopefully eBay's Motors has got them. I've been buying a lot of stuff off there for my Audi, so hopefully they got some BMW stuff too. Yeah, because that's going to have to end up mounting there, I believe. This is here, but it's missing the cover piece, so there's just a lot of, like, this car was totally torn apart, guys, so we are makeshifting what we can for now. It is what it is. You know, we're going to try to get as much of it back together as possible. If I can't purchase it for cheap, I'm going to make it out of aluminum. So, like this whole center console, I'm going to build this out of aluminum, I think. We'll see. I might look online, see what I can find online. But for now, we're getting this dash back together. Side skirts are on, so now I can start attaching my Jeep body, making filler panels, adding my roll cage in here. So, but this is where we're starting first. Dylan, cup holders first, both sides.
I know.
Oh, I thought
off, it was already on here.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were putting it back in. My bad. Don't listen to me. You got it. Okay, so that's where we're at, you guys. My GoPro, I'm back to extension cord again. This thing died this morning because the actual cord that I was charging with was bad. It was really cold out here this morning and it just killed it. So I thought I lost the whole GoPro altogether, but I went and plugged it in the house on a different cord and it started charging and actually turned on because we couldn't get it to turn on. So yeah, so now we're back in business again, but we're back to the extension cord again. Yeah. So we're gonna get this done and then we're gonna start looking at some other stuff here, where we're headed from here. Probably going up with the front part of the Jeep, then I can start cutting the horns off this car to make the hood fit, cutting the hood kind of deal. So we're kind of going to work from the front half of this car forward, and then I'm going to start working on the back half of this car. That'll allow me to get these cut off where I want, plate these, make brackets to attach the body to. So of the CJ7 to this BMW. All right, I'll show you guys where I get when we get. All right, you guys. So we got our side skirts on. Started putting our Jeep body up there. I just kind of wanted to show you guys. This is why I put them on there, because it makes this perfect line. Because the bottom of a Jeep pretty damn flat, so it lines this up very easy. So that's kind of the start of what I'm doing. We got most of the dash back in this car. This looks a little funny here, you guys, but my roll cage is going to come up through here, and there'll be a plate that bolts this Jeep body to the roll cage, essentially, is what I'm kind of thinking I'm going to do. And I know I'm still missing a lot of parts here in the dash. This is what I got from the guy that had this car, so it is what it is. We tried to get the radio working. I'm not 100% sure. This is like the module for the radio, I guess. The problem is behind the radio, he cut the fiber optic lines, so I think it's not allowing the music to play because we have one speaker there, and I hooked the rear windage tray back up with the speakers. I ain't getting any noise out of it, so I don't know. I might have to have somebody help me deal with the fiber optics to try to see if I can get the radio to work, but at least the dash is in there. And I guess if down the road, if I can't ever get it working, maybe I can retrofit something in there, something else. But you guys can kind of see where I'm going with this thing. I'm still on cord. Oh, hey, it's totally charged. Look at that. GoPro's working. So you can see my hood's like way high, but I got these horns I got to cut off of here, but my grill's in there. So you guys can kind of see where I'm going with this, what it's going to end up kind of looking like. I may end up building tube fenders or just leaving the hood. I don't know yet. A lot of ideas in my head. Me and Dylan were just sitting here laughing at each other like, oh my gosh, what are we building? But here's the other side too. So like I said, that hood's sitting way up high because these horns are in the way. I'm gonna have to cut them away. I'm gonna have to cut the corner of this hood too, because on a Jeep hood it angles and then goes flat. So this will just continue out to these corners now. I'll have to rebuild a lot of stuff on the hood to make it work. But it's getting there. This side looks pretty good too. You guys can see that it lines up the bottom of the Jeep. What I think is going to be pretty cool about this is, since BMW naturally has a rake to it, the tires are bigger in the back than the front, it kind of sits like a hot rod. So by the time I get this rear fender on, or the rear quarter of this Jeep, it's going to kind of sit like very hot rod-ish. So it's definitely going to be a street Jeep for sure. It's going to be neat. All right, I'm gonna try to work on something here. I'm mainly game planning right now, figure out what I'm gonna do. I may cut these B pillars off today, flush and plate them, start making brackets to bolt the Jeep body right there. I gotta line this back up because it's off just a little bit. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff, you guys. It's a little overwhelming right now at this point, but the main part is the dash is in. You know what? I think I'm going to switch over and try to get these seats working. The electronics in the seat, because that seat's way far back. I can't even barely touch this pedals in this car. And I don't like how there's like no room back here. So we need to get these seats forward a little bit. So I may hook those up, see what I can do, get them working a little bit. The seats are rough, you guys. You can see that one is beat up pretty bad. I'll probably end up running them like that for a while, maybe get seat covers or something. But I need to get them forward because it's hard for me to reach pedals in this car. It's not horrible, but it's not great. Because I am putting the back seats back in this car once I get the back end of this Jeep figured out. All right, you guys, I'm making some progress here. I clamped this piece of 1 inch across the top of the Jeep dash, and I kind of level it to it. I set this piece of angle iron up here. I'm kind of out of clamps just to make sure that I'm keeping that relatively flat. Clamped another one here to straighten out the front of this cowl because it's so rusted right there, it's wanting to lean away. So I put that on there to kind of hold it back a little bit. I'm gonna have to replace the face of this cowl right here because it's so rusty. But then I got this done. So I tacked this in. This is a piece of like 3 by 1.5 inches, 3 by 2, something like that. This bolts in. This is where the fender bolts in on the Jeep. So I just made this little bracket to hold. This will be my front mount for my body. I just leveled the body here to the rocker. I'll come back in. I'll probably put some kind of I'll probably add on to this fender just to fill in a lot of this gap coming through here. Sorry, because you can see there's going to be an air gap, so I'm going to have to build some kind of firewall here. I'll probably plate this off too at some point. I just needed something to hold this in place. I'm going to mount both sides, then I'm going to start tacking this middle together so I can start making this a Jeep tub again. I started working on my bracket on the other side. I got a little misalignment issue that I'm kind of dealing with. It's just a little bit closer there, so I'm going to have to unclamp this. I think it's leaning that way a little, so I'm going to have to pull it back just a little bit because I can see just a little bit of gap under my angle iron, so I know this piece is in too far. So I'm going to pull it out because you can kind of see where my... On the other side, that's totally flush with the edge of the body, and I'm a little off. So I know I got a little bit of an alignment issue there, so I'm going to unclamp this, pull this body back just a little bit so I can get that in there. I'm going to drill these holes in the exact same spot as I did on that side so that I know that this is evenly spaced from side to side. So this Jeep body will be perfectly centered because that metal is pretty damn close. So, and I did mark this side, and as I marked it going down, this was one piece I cut in half. So it's just a piece I had laying around. That's why I cut it perfectly in half, and it just happened to catch two of those bolts. So it's going to work perfect for the front mount on this tub. Once I get that mounted, I can start tacking this together. I can start figuring out where I'm going to cut this off at and what kind of bracket I'm going to make to hold this part of the body. Then I can start adding on to the rest of this body. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at, you guys. My wife just got off work. We're going to go have a beer. And then I'll probably get back on this maybe tomorrow. We'll see how the kids are feeling, how my wife's feeling. She's not feeling super great, but she wants to go have a drink. So we're going to go do that. Okay, you guys, it's Saturday. Saturday? Yeah, I think it's Saturday. Yeah, it's Saturday. We're on the beep still here. So, show you guys what I got. So I made this bracket right here. It's just a piece of angle iron. I think I kind of showed it to you. I kind of got it tacked in there. It's not fully welded out or anything. I welded it a little bit just to make sure that it wouldn't move. It was more than just a tack because I am kind of jockeying this body around because you guys know this thing's really rusted right here. I'm gonna have to rebuild this whole part of this Jeep. The problem with it is, I don't know if you can see down here, it's pulling the cowl away from this because it's so rotted. I got a piece of square tube across this top, clamping it together. So what I think I'm gonna start doing is trying to figure out how I can get this pushed back. So I can put a filler piece in here. I'm gonna actually tip this on my bead roller over there so I can make this little corner piece because it's a little wider than my vise is, I think. So trying to hammer it over in my vise isn't really gonna work. So I'm gonna use my tipping die on my bead roller. I'm gonna tip this flange right here and get this piece straightened to each other and tack in. Then I'm gonna do this piece. I'm gonna have to do this in pieces because I don't have the right equipment to do this 100% right. I got some of the stuff to do it, but I'm gonna kind of piece it together in pieces. So essentially we'll have one piece here, then this will be another piece. So we'll have essentially 1, 2, 3, then this will be my fourth piece, and then I'll do a fifth piece up here that goes that way. Just because it's what I can kind of do with the tools I have. I haven't done a whole lot of sheet metal work, you guys, so you're going to be learning this as I'm learning it. We'll see, though. It's just metal. Metal moves. I'm sure I can get it where I need it to. And I'm not expecting this to be perfect, you guys. This Jeep is rough, like really rough. You know that I'm starting with something bad, so I am going to try to turn my air compressor on. My hose was froze up the other day, so I couldn't take my tires off my Tundra. But I kind of want to be able to, it does let some air out, so as I tack this, I'm going to have my air gun, so I'll tack it, and then I'll hit it with the air compressor to cool the weld down fairly quickly. So I try to keep the least amount of distortion that I can in this body. It probably is not going to matter because this body's rough anyways, but I'll come back someday and I'll smooth all this out. I might hit somebody up to actually paint this once I get all the metal work done, get all the Bondo and stuff done, and then get it painted. I don't know, maybe. I might just rattle can this thing and call it good enough. It'll be my little rat Jeep. So we'll see down the road where I get, but I am going to start working on these, trying to attach this back together now that I got this front cowl mounted where I wanted. Oh, I did want to show you this too. So this is how I got this squirt up, you guys. I literally measured from the end of my running board, or this side skirt, back. This is 2¼ inches right there. I did that on both sides, and then I measured from this flange on the body. This is where the original fender hooks to. From there up to here, whoop, to put this bracket in the right spot on both sides. That's 17 inches. I just clipped my tape on that little bracket and went up to here, 17 inches on both sides. Same with my holes. They're both marked the same distance out. So I know this body is as centered as I can possibly get it on here with a tape measure. So hopefully I'm within 1/8 of an inch or so. I should be. I've also taken some measurements kind of from here out on both sides just to make sure it's good. I also put my level on the outside of this Jeep. Let me show you. Like this. And you can see I'm pretty close. A Jeep tub actually has a little bit of a lean to it from what I can tell. It's not perfectly flat, and this one's by far not flat at all. I mean, you can see there's some rock to it because it's pretty mangled, but it's pretty level there. And I also did the same thing over here and leveled it on this side. So it's pretty close. It's never gonna be perfect because it's literally sheet metal. It's the skirts of a Jeep, so it's a little off and it's rusty, so it's a little wobbly too. And what I pretty much did was try to line this body up with the edge of my side skirts on both sides. I think that's where this thing's gonna live and look the best. Just lined up right there with those side skirts. It should look pretty good. The other thing I did too, I threw my level across here and just made sure that that was level before I start trying to put this thing back together. This side is really rough right here, so trying to get this pushed back could be tough because it's actually pulling away. It's actually twisting. You can see this piece of angle iron is actually leaning a little bit. So these are all just temporary clamps on here. That's why I'm trying to get this body connected back together as one tub right there. Then we'll start working on a spot for right here to mount the body to. Then we'll probably move to this back and start cutting the back. I don't know. We might go that way or we might go this way. I think we'll go this way because I want to get the grill mounted and this horns cut off so I can get the hood cut and mounted where it needs to be. Hopefully. That's my game plan. We'll see how this goes, you guys. It's going to be my first time doing sheet metal stuff on a car, at least. Well, not my very first time. I did a little bit in high school in a Land Cruiser I used to have, but I was pretty young then. I had no idea what I was doing. I know a little bit more, but I'm still not great at sheet metal work, so we'll kind of start tinkering with this. I'm going to make that middle piece right there and try to get this cowl pushed back and tacked together. I'll show you guys as I start doing that. I got my piece of 16 gauge. It's a little thicker than the body, you guys, but I have it. I'm literally into this zero money right now. So this is 16 gauge. It's a little thicker than the body, but I'll line up the outside this with the body of the Jeep so it's flush. It might be hanging into the body just a little bit because it's just a pinch thicker. Which, whatever. I don't really care. Nobody will see it. Only me and you guys on YouTube are gonna know. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try to morph that thing back together with some 16 gauge. I'll show you guys as I start building this piece. I'm gonna measure it, get everything cut, and then I'm gonna bead roll that flange right there. You guys can see I kind of ground the layers of paint. Look at all this. I mean, there's primer, there's blue, there's gray, there's white, there's teal, there's maroon, and there's a layer of Bondo too. This Jeep's been so many different colors, you guys. But yeah, I had to get that paint out of there so that I could tack weld this thing together. Yeah. So we'll get this measurement here and we'll start building this piece. All right, you guys, I just had a safety moment. So you guys are working, make sure you're checking your stuff. I did not realize, hopefully the camera can focus on this. My cord was split right there and I moved it and the two wires arced against each other. It made a little pop right over the motor of that BMW. So as you guys are working, just make sure you're checking your stuff. I got lucky, it just made a little spark and it popped my breaker on the wall, or my, I got a GFI in every one of my plugs in my garage and it popped the GFI. So got lucky, but it did spark. It actually was kind of, woo, and was literally like right there. I had the cord kind of going up this way because I was gonna grind something and it, bam. So just, yeah, be careful guys. Well, check your stuff. I just got in a hurry. I did get this little piece tacked in. It's a little warped because that fender is just pulling on it so hard. So I'm gonna try to get this piece tacked together. I did have to loosen my fender bolts on my mount right there. It's off just a little bit, you guys. I'm probably gonna have to open up both sides of this Jeep, those holes a little bit, because this thing was so floppy when I put those brackets in, even though I made them identical. It's kind of touching on the dash here. It's kind of funny if you look at this, you guys. Look at how well this Jeep body matches the dash of this BMW. Like, it's sealing up tight, except for, you know, right here where I cut the horn off. But yeah, it's sitting perfectly on that dash. It's almost sealing it up, which is good, I guess, you know. But it is pushing a little bit harder on the other side too. I think that's why it's kind of twisting that a little. And I think I'm just a little bit off with those bolt holes. Not really off, it's just kind of pushing this body of this Jeep that's rusted all to hell in different directions. But I did use my tipping die to bend this flange. You guys, it actually turned out pretty good. Even though it's pulling down right now on this side, it actually does sit pretty flat. Once I get this in, it'll start flattening that back out. But it is pulling that way. And then I just hammered and dollied it a little bit. Once I get all these tacks in, grind the tacks off, I'll come back with the DA and I'll sand all this to smooth it out. I can feel right here I got a little high spot. So I'll have to body hammer this part of the Jeep up. It's kind of dished like that. So I'm gonna have to hammer that up from the back side. But I wanna get all these pieces tacked in. I'll pull this off as one piece. Me and Dylan will pull it off. Then I'll hammer and dolly some of that area right here just with my body hammer, just to kind of smooth it out a little bit. Then it should be good. I'm never gonna say this is perfect, you guys. I'm working with some junk. So yeah, like from here it looks really bad. But once this lifts up, it straightens right out. I can tell there's a little dish in my, that was my coffee. Yeah. There's a little dish in the piece I made. As I use my tipping die to tip that, I kind of got off the line a little bit, so it kind of put a little bow in it. I should be able to body hammer it out a little bit. Once I pull this body off, all the pieces are in there. I should be able to flatten it out somewhat. It's never gonna be perfect, you guys. Like I said, I ain't no body guy, but I kind of know how metal moves, so we'll get that looking better. It looks a little rough right now, but like I said, you can tell this cow is diving that way. So I'm gonna do a little bit more adjustment, and then I'm gonna build this front piece of this opening. I think eventually, you guys, that I'm gonna fill that whole hole. I don't think I'm gonna try to put this vent back in, because this actually used to go right there. I don't think I'm gonna put it back in just because it's gonna let water in, and I need this thing kind of sealed up. Like, it's sitting on the BMW dash, but you can see this is where the window of the BMW used to mount, was right here, and it's got a seal. So I'm gonna end up literally having to build a firewall from the Jeep to here to keep the water from getting up underneath my BMW dash. So yeah, that's gonna be a little tricky. I'm sure I'll get it though. I'm guessing I'll build the firewall just like a Jeep has right here, that will be attached to the Jeep and go down and attached to the BMW plastic somewhere with a seal, because I got all the seals over there from the BMW. So we may use some of those to put this thing back together. That's why I kept them all. I kept everything from the Jeep, everything from the BMW, and I got a lot of stuff from my plow truck too that I cut off when I built the flatbed. So yeah, I'm gonna work on this front piece here. Once I find a new extension cord that's not gonna throw sparks everywhere. Yeah, because that's what I was going to do, was grind this paint off of here so I could start building these. There's going to be at least 2 pieces, maybe 3. I'm not quite sure yet. But if I do tip something on my bead roll again, I'll try to record it so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. I think you've seen it in other videos, but I'll actually show you on this, because like I said, I'm no professional at that yet. I am still learning, you guys, but it is a very handy tool. And I think if you guys are watching, you saw my short, I actually built this top tipping die. These are the 2 lower dies that I made for it. They're like polyurethane. One's like a hard, one's a soft one. This is more like a little bit harder, like a skateboard wheel. This one's a lot softer. It's almost like a rubber. It actually can move a little bit. So when you're like doing like a quilted pattern, I put this in there, and that lets that quilted pattern kind of get made. I think if you guys saw my short, you probably saw, let me see if I got it still. Oh, right there. Yeah, so that's what it does. It makes that quilted pattern. Pretty neat. We're gonna probably use some of that quilted pattern when I make the center console for this car, because I don't have it. So we're gonna probably build that out of aluminum, and I'm gonna do some quilting in it and some cup holders and stuff like that. So yeah, but when you're doing like hard metal, you actually need a hard flat steel die on the bottom. I didn't make it when I made the other ones, so I've been using, this is my step die. I've just been using the hard flat side of my step die here to allow me to tip. And this doesn't ever get it all the way to 90, you guys. I haven't quite figured out how to make it go all the way to 90. I think I need a different lower die that actually is shaped like this, and maybe a different upper die. I got to do some research on it, but it does get me close, so then I can body hammer the rest of it over. That's literally how I made this flange right here, you guys. So it does work very well for, you know, me making it. So yeah, let me get this part done, and then if I go to tip some more, I'll show you guys how that thing kind of works. It's just, you kind of got to apply pressure this way, and it folds that flange up. So it works pretty good. I mean, like, literally, if I don't, since I don't have a metal brake, this is working great. It's accomplishing what I need to get done. So someday maybe I'll have a metal brake, but right now we don't have it, so this is what we're dealing with. Okay, you guys, we're making a little ways here. I got this panel put in, this one, this is the third. So this is essentially, I folded it here, made this as a separate piece. I overlapped it right here, you guys, just to get some rigidity back to this, because it was flexing really bad. So once I pull the body off, I'll weld this the rest of the way out from the back side back here. Got this panel tacked in, this panel's tacked in. It comes around to the front to get this rigidity back in there. Now I got to deal with this cowl piece. I'm gonna make this whole piece. I got to get it out of there first, so we're working on taking the window frame, or these out. They were right there. All the bolts are rusted in. They're bad. You can see how bad this is, you guys. I'm gonna have to cut this out, rebuild the structure underneath, and then come back and do the outer structure. But literally, this is how we're getting them out, you guys. Some of them are welded in, but we're drilling them. Literally, if you just drill the head of the bolt off, the back part falls through, because you can see these are through holes. They had nuts on the back side. We tried vice grip and trying to impact them out. It wasn't happening. So I just drilled the heads off of them. Essentially, this is what we had. So that nut was on the back side, and these were star bits. So literally, if you just drill through the star bit part of it, get as much of the, down to the small diameter of the shank, they just pop right off the back side. You can see how much rust was on that thing, maybe. That's why they wouldn't come off. So now we got them off. We'll cut this structure out of here. I'll see what I got to do to rebuild the structure to hold this window frame. This isn't going to have to be perfect, you guys, because when my window, I'm going to tilt this windshield back so it has a rake to it, because this car has a rake sitting down. I want this sitting back. It won't be straight up and down like most Jeeps. This thing will be tilted back, so I'm cutting the bottom of the window frame off so I can angle it back a little bit. The top of the window frame will be tied into the roll cage I'm putting in this thing. It's gonna have a full rock bouncer roll cage in it for the street. It's gonna be ridiculous. So yeah, so I'm not super concerned about how structural this is. Literally, this body is gonna be able to unbolt off of here, because I got my brackets there. There'll be brackets here, and then whatever I'm gonna do in the back, we'll get to that though, but I got to get this cowl fixed. So we're gonna cut this out. I'm gonna make a whole new piece here, redo the structure, and then we'll carry on from there. But you can see what I've done so far. I mean, it's pretty good, you guys. There's a little bit of flex in this. I'm guessing that hole will probably end up filling the whole hole, but it's pretty damn good. There's a little low spot right here on that second piece. I'm gonna body hammer it back up when I get this off the car, because I'm gonna tack, I got everything tacked together. We're gonna pull the whole body off. I'm gonna do all the little welding and grinding and all that. I'm gonna body hammer a lot of this up, because I do, like, you guys can probably see it, there's a low spot right here. If you can't, I nailed it. I can see it because I did it. And my line's a little crooked right here. I'm gonna straighten that out once I get everything where I want it. We'll just grind that back smooth so everything's good. You shouldn't notice that anyways because the hood's gonna be on this thing once I cut it, because I gotta cut it to to fit this Jeep. Now that I've widened it, I widened it, you guys, 7 and 5/8 of an inch is how much wider this Jeep had to be to go onto this BMW. So that's how much we've added. You get them all out?
Nope.
Oh.
Your battery died.
Oh, imagine that.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we got a corded drill over there too. But you guys can see I'm gonna have to cut some of this out to see what's behind here. You can see this panel has a little bead roll action in it. I may or may not put that bead roll back in. In order to do that really tight radius there on my bead roller, it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be hard because that's a really tight radius. This is actually a stamp piece. They actually stamp it with 2 pieces in between 2 dies. My bead roller won't quite roll that super sharp corner. I don't know. I have a set of smaller dies that might do it. I really haven't used them. They're like an art die. The stepping die I do have, it's more for bigger corners, kind of like my door panels on my Jeep over there. You got to have a bigger radius or it kind of leaves like a real sharp edge. So we'll see if I put that design back in there or not, because this whole piece is probably coming out. So I can see this structure and get the structure back into this. So, all right, you guys, I am, I'm in between a couple projects here. I got my handrails over there along the back of my shop. I had to move them because I had to work on my Audi again. You guys, I told you guys my water pump was going. I know it's been going for about a year. Got brand new tires for it. Pulled it out, pulled it out of my little garage to pull it in the shop to pull the tires off. Water pump went out. I knew it's been going for a year, so I didn't bore you guys with this video. I got it done today. It took me a while because I'm no mechanic, but I did get it done. I got her filled back up. It's been sitting outside for like 2-3 weeks now, waiting for the water pump to come in. And I had other stuff going on. My wife's uncle died and she had to leave, so a lot of stuff going on. But I lost both my battery chargers. When I got this back together, it had all sorts of codes and blah blah blah, battery low. So when the battery in an Audi goes low, it starts shutting stuff off throughout the car. Heated seats, the stuff that it doesn't need to run. It was so low, you guys, that it was kicking up a bunch of other codes because it's been sitting. I don't think I got a draw or anything, but maybe I left the light on, I don't know. The battery was low, and I believe the battery in this car since I got it has slowly been just dying. Both my battery chargers died, so my wife and son were uptown today. I sent them money and they bought me 2 brand new ones, so I got it charging. I think I got this thing wrapped up now. I think I got 2 things I want to fix. I want to finish the headlight, and there's a seal around the upper part of the intake that's leaking a little bit of oil that I'm going to fix. So I'm done with that. I'm off of that now. Back on my Beep over here. I've made it a little ways today, you guys. Oh, my handrails. I'm still working on these. I got end caps for them. I just put them over there because I needed to pull my Audi in. So me and my wife moved them over there. Get them out of the way. I'm gonna cap the ends tomorrow, paint them, and in a couple weeks, in the next couple weeks, hopefully I can get up there and get them mounted, and hopefully everything works. I hope. I built them off of wood jigs, so we'll see. I hope they work. Anyways, we're back on this today, you guys. I've made it a little ways here. I think the last time you guys saw this, this part of this horn was rusted off from here up. So I took a piece of 16 gauge and I tacked it in here to try to level this out. It's not perfect, you guys. I'm not even gonna try to tell you it's perfect. 16 gauge is a little bit thinner than what's here. It's what I had, so that's what I put in there to smooth this out. You guys know I put the 1/8 inch behind it, so it's gonna be plenty strong enough. It's way stronger than what was there. The other thing I've done is I started building this piece, so this was rusted away. Same with this piece here. I kind of started tacking a piece in here. They're not the greatest tack welds. I had my welder up a little high. It was kind of burning through in some spots, so I'm gonna have to get that cleaned up. And I got this piece to make right here. You can see I split it down the middle here. This was so rusted away, you guys. I really wanted this seam to come right down the middle to tie this piece back in. It's just not gonna happen. So this Jeep isn't gonna be like perfect. I don't ever expect it to be perfect, but this is a panel that I'm building. You guys know the original panel has like a stepped in piece here. I'm not going to do that either. I don't have the equipment to do it right now. And I don't want to build it. I just kind of want to get this body together. But here's my piece I'm making right now. So it's going to be a little difficult with the tools I have. We're going to see. But you can see I split this right down the middle, so I have a seam there. This piece was gone. So you see a little triangle cut out? That was just my paper. It's actually going to be squared off right here. It moved a little. Same with right here. So it's going to actually work out pretty well. From the front, you can see, I looked up online to see what this looks like because both sides of this Jeep are rusted away so bad. I literally can't even tell one panel to the other. It's so rusted, you guys. But I gotta find my mirror. Oh, here it is. So this is my window frame piece. It's gonna work out pretty good though. Once I get that panel built, it's gonna line up pretty good. I'm not gonna tell you guys it's perfect. I ain't a sheet metal guy. I just kind of know how metal works. As I built this front piece, I kind of started realizing that this I thought was flat. It actually has just a slight contour this way, like that. It bows just a little bit that way. And this cowl going this way has another, it's like a compound radius, you guys. I don't have the tools. I don't have an English wheel. I don't have a plenishing hammer. Like, that's kind of what you need to build this. I have kind of bent this over my knee a little bit to match this radius because it's not perfectly flat. I thought it was at first, but it is definitely not. And maybe it is flat and this tub is so rusted that it's making it look like it has a radius this way. I don't know for sure, but I'm gonna make it look the best I can with what I'm working with. It is what it is, you guys. Yeah, you know, when you're doing rust repair, what I'm finding out is this kind of what you got. You just got to deal with what you got. All right, you guys, I'm making a little waves on this panel. I kind of want to show you what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. I can't get this in my bead roller to tip the panel. So literally I've taken, so this is like a piece of thick angle iron. This is like 1/8 inch. I've been folding to the thicker side of this angle iron. I'm essentially making these two pieces as my brake, and I'm just body hammering it over to these pieces. This flange, I couldn't get it because so I've already bent this flange and this flange. I couldn't get it to fold against this one just because of the way it laid out. So I had to put the thinner piece over here, and I'm gonna fold to this center piece. Hopefully it doesn't mess me up. The last bend I did cut my piece of angle iron at an angle to match this right here. That angle, I just eyeballed it, hacked it off just to cut some clearance. It actually was like the perfect angle, so I could fold that over. So now I'm gonna do this long piece, and I have one more section right here to fold over to get this panel made. And like I said, literally I've been trying to beat against a thicker piece of metal. The way this flange is right here, it just wasn't working out. So we're going to the little side. I'll kind of show you guys what I'm doing. I'm just slowly working this. And I was too lazy to get out my good hammer. I found this in my grandpa's garage a lot of years ago, and it was broke, and I taped it, and I still haven't put a handle on it, but it was in arm's reach, so that's what we're using. All right, so that roughs us in, you guys, so we can get our shape close. So now you can see I'm getting there. So I got, wow, sorry. So I got my front flange. This is a little bit bigger. I'm gonna come back through and body hammer this. You can see there's some hammer marks in it. I'm gonna actually put my dolly behind it and hammer those out smooth. I got my back flange, my bottom flange. This sets my depth on the side of the Jeep down here. So you can see not all the flanges are the same. They kind of are a little bit different. But literally this one's different mainly to set that depth for the frame for the windshield essentially. Sorry, this one it's a little bit wider because I'm going to rosette weld through here to my other panel. And then this one's cut like that because that's kind of the way I cut the body panel. So hopefully this thing's going to fit in here. You guys are seeing it for the first time too. So oop, I got one more flange to bend. But now you guys can see I got my flange going there, my flange going here where I'm going to rosette weld this way. And now this piece, it's not quite in the perfect position. I got to do a little bit of grinding there. But you can see this kind of steps out right there the way I cut it out. So I'll be able to come back through and, like I said, I got to do a little bit of work to this. That gap's a little bit bigger than I'd like to see. And it's not lined up perfect. This is, the body of the Jeep itself has an arc to it this way. So I'm gonna have to grind this just a little bit to make that fit in there right where I want it. And I still have to bend this, sorry, lights, this top flange in. Cause you can see this is where that 1/4 inch piece of window frame is gonna sit. This bracket, the hinge, it's gonna sit right there when I'm done. So it should line up pretty good once I get this last little flange bent. So yeah, like, you know, for not having the tools and not being a sheet metal guy, you guys can see I kind of have an idea how to make metal move. So we're getting close. I got to smooth off some corners here. It's a little sharp right there and a little sharp right there just because that's where the flanges came together. But our panel looks pretty good. We're starting to get some rigidity back in this corner. This is going to be pretty stout now, you guys. Then I'm going to get this last flange bent over. All right, you guys, I was talking about how I was going to fold this last little piece over. So I have this little mini tiny anvil that I got from my grandpa years ago. It almost fit across here. I bent this flange out just a little bit so I could set that on the end of my anvil right here because it's pretty straight edge. And then I just took my body hammer and I beat this over. I'm going to put my dolly behind it and hammer around a little bit more. Actually, all these flanges I'm going to do that too. But it did work. But you can see I had to bend that out just a little bit right there to get it to fit over the square part of my anvil. But it did work. I actually got to bend that flange over, so now you can see I got my flange. Let's go see if it fits. I got a little twang right there. I got a body hammer back too, but say that's pretty good. Here's my window bracket. Yeah, I think that's gonna work. I can't really hold this really good and run the camera, you guys, but yeah, it's pretty close. I might have to sand a little bit on the back side of that flange because it's sticking out just a teeny bit more than I'd like. But I'd say that's pretty functionally acceptable for somebody who's never done sheet metal before. Well, I've done a little bit, not a lot. Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of more body hammer on it. I'm gonna sand a little bit right here on the back of this. Get this flange down a little. It's a little higher than I'd like. Just because I beat it over an anvil, the end of the anvil, and it's not perfect. But I'd say that's functionally acceptable considering that thing was totally rusted out and like nothing left of it. So yeah, we'll keep after it, you guys. I'm getting closer. So I got this kind of sitting here. I wanted to show you what it was going to look like. Now that I got, it's just literally sitting there, you guys, but I wanted to show you because I don't think it made much sense when I was kind of holding it there. Now you can see the edge of this bracket is flush with the outside of the Jeep. All this will be tacked in. This will be seam sealed. I'm actually going to weld this and then grind it, and I'm going to do rosette welds. I'm actually going to weld down this seam and weld all this up too. Literally that's just taking care of my rust issue, you guys, and fixing that one panel. But what it does do is it allows this to line back up right and still step in and be flush on the outside of the Jeep. So it looks like the Jeep's supposed to. I'm just missing the step part of it, which I actually like it better without the step, to be honest with you. So we're gonna work on getting some of this tacked in so I got some structure here. I'm probably not gonna weld it all the way out. I'm just gonna kind of tack it in because I'm gonna pull this whole body off once I get the other side of the cowl over there fixed. I'm gonna pull it all off, weld everything out, grind everything smooth, and then reattach the body, the front part of the clip to it. I'm still deciding on this, but I'm gonna work this way first, you guys. I'm gonna get essentially the front half of this Jeep done, hood done, all the rust dealt with, this rust dealt with. I'm probably gonna wait on this piece because I'm gonna try to tie it into the other piece so I can get some more structure there. And then we'll work back there. I really want to deal with this last because I don't know what I'm gonna do with this corner yet. I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing with the back half of this car yet. Still deciding, but I'm trying to get this rust dealt with. That's like my main thing, is trying to get this cowl back to one piece. I still, obviously, you guys know I got to make a piece there still, and I got to cut all this out. So when I build that piece, it's going to be one solid piece all the way across. I'm going to probably fill this so it's solid, and I got to deal with the hood next. But the rust is the first thing I got to do with. But I just wanted you guys to see how that's turning out. You guys, like, now it looks like it should. Once I get everything tacked in, ground smooth, nobody's really gonna know that I went in there and hacked on this thing. So it's working really good. That piece turned out awesome. Like, I'm more than happy with that. Like, I was a little skeptical if I could do this or not, but it turned out great. I'm blowing my own mind, really. It looks pretty awesome. Wow, that was close. But yeah, good. Well, now it's bent. No, not really. But yeah, just enough gap to make up for that. Yeah, that's exactly how it's supposed to look. Like, obviously I'm gonna, you know, weld this out, you guys. I'm gonna grind everything smooth. That'll bolt in here perfect in here. It's just pieces right now, so I gotta tack everything, weld it together. Yeah, like, there's a lot I still gotta do. A lot of tedious just spot weld to get this back where it needs to be. But from where it was to where it's at now, dude, that looks pretty freaking awesome. I'm pretty proud of myself, honestly. That's pretty awesome. Pretty cool. So yeah, we're gonna start working on getting that tacked in there. My air compressor, the hose, is still frozen. We're gonna start hacking away on this corner. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna build our 1/8" frame. It is bitter cold out here. I thought it was cold a couple days ago. Like, literally, I'm in long underwear, you guys, and my fire is like, this is my favorite spot right here. I stand here for like half an hour, then I go work for about 3 minutes.